Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. This one's gonna be a little bit different. Instead of a normal tutorial, I did an interview with Markus Storm, one of the maintainers of openHAbian, the official running system of openHAB. He will tell you something about openHAB itself and show you some of the main features. So without further ado, we jump right into the interview. Today I've met up with Markus Storm, one of the maintainers of openHAbian. So we want to talk about this operating system. Maybe you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you did the past 5 years.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I'm a long-term openHAB user, and you might have come across my name on the forum where I'm also moderator and I actively support users there. But I'm not a core developer. And for a living, I've been a cloud and networking IT professional with the telco industry for a long time, and now I've become a smart home architect to offer my experiences as professional services. And thinking how to contribute to openHAB best, I came up with the idea of putting my Linux skills and experiences in IT operations for my job to use and help with openHAbian development. And then quite quickly thereafter, I became maintainer of that. And nowadays, it's essentially a two-man job. The other guy is Ethan Dye from the US.
Okay, nice. As you got a lot of experience and know-how of Linux programming, can you tell us why it's a good idea to use the openHAbian system? And what are the benefits about it?
Yeah, so anyone with a smart home based on openHAB will obviously need some sort of server to run on. And well, some IT-affine people, they will build their own system, their own server. But most users, I think, are interested in getting their smart home experience going right away, and they don't want to descend into the shallows, let's say, of server installations and operations. So to make life easier for all of you, openHAbian is built to be a ready turnkey solution that provides you with all the tools and system presets that you will need not only to get your openHAB going quickly, but also to have proper operations afterwards, because you will live in that home and it shouldn't break right the next day when you've gotten things to work. So the enthusiast rate among openHAB is pretty high. Many enthusiasts, and it's a hobby for most of us. There's more and more homeowners, though, that just want to, live in their home, in their openHAB smart home. And those don't want to spend as much time and efforts on it as any enthusiast probably will do. So for them, it is of foremost importance that their home keeps working reliably, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for hopefully a long time. And now, since my professional origin is the business of operating someone else's IT, let's say 24/7, I've tried to transfer some of my experiences, and I designed and optimized openHAbian with a focus on reliability and effortless operations. That was a little bit like, an attempt to, let's say, shrink a data center and its technologies onto low-cost hardware, while trying to keep at least some of the availability features that those big, expensive, big iron setups provide. And that was, challenging on the one hand side, but it was fun too.
As you said, reliability. On which hardware is it even possible to run openHAbian on?
Yeah, this is possibly not too well known everywhere. So openHAbian comes in two flavors. The probably well known one is the image for Raspberries. It's running on all of the Raspberry line of models. But you can actually also deploy it on top of a self-installed Debian x86 server, such as, say, if you've got a NUC, that some people have this x86 small size Intel-based or AMD small scale server, which is usually used in media as a media server or some such. But essentially, you can install it on top of any Linux. However, what we support and test it against is Debian x86 only. There was an original slogan that is still around. It was issued by Thomas Dietrich, he's the guy who once started the project. And that's that openHABian is supposed to be a hassle-free Linux. So to people that don't know Linux, they pretty happy to get this. For anyone working with Linux, they know it is a hassle by itself. Well, but that's why we, so my maintainer Ethan and me, that's what we are still aiming at, and that's hassle-free that we hope it to be to anyone. So, well, to anyone except ourselves, of course. It's a lot of, but sometimes we get positive feedback, and when we do, this really reminds us of why it's nice to keep investing our time. So openHABian sets up the whole box in a fashion that you can start using openHAB right away. But it also provides some features that you will probably get to honor in the more long run. It's, for example, disk mirroring, and that will help with server and thus SmartHome availability. And if things go wrong, it also helps with fast recovery, for example, thanks to professional system backup. And finally, openHABian also comes with a number of additional tools to provide benefits to openHAB users, such as, say, log viewer, that you can also extend to monitor any file on the system, Mosquito MQTT server, database, Influx, a VPN access solution, HomeGear software gateway to control homematic devices, or Find, which is a really cool Find piece of software to locate people indoors. So all of these features and third-party software are offered for setup in a one-stop shop, let's say, the openHABian config tool.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to point out something specific about the openHABian configuration tool or openHABian itself?
Yes, please. There's some, let's say, clever operating system enhancements, such as disk mirroring or, well, micro SD card mirroring that is on a Raspberry. And there's a feature called ZRAM that mitigates the wearer problem, the SD card wearer problem. Some of you will have heard of that. It's actually that flash memory. It's not just SD cards, it's also USB sticks, for example. But the memory on there, it gets corrupted when you write to it too often. And that's a more or less known, rather ugly problem that affects and shows up all of the whole embedded computing industry. It's, for example, it's known to exist in the central unit of a Tesla car as well. And they didn't do any, put in any micro SD card, but they soldered the flash onto the system. So if that breaks there, you have to replace it. 3,000 euros plus building. That's how they make money. I know of many people who are interested in smart home, but they refrain from using a Raspberry Pi because of this. They heard about this is unstable, this is breaking down. Or they feel forced to put their own energy into finding alternative solutions, but again, that requires a lot of IT know-how, and it's not easy to find a solution to that. And for sure, not every smart home enthusiast has that know-how available or the time that needs to be invested to get that done. So this is why we've built that into openHABian. Now, I wish or a play to all of you. Please get to know openHABian and what are the tools it brings and what they are made for before you make up your own mind. For example, how to back up your system and start backing up using whatever script or own homegrown solution or add a SSD or whatever. Please see what's already there and use what others have been using before you for that same task, because those solutions are then available, they are tested, bugs have been found and fixed, and the whole setup is proven to work, and there will be more common knowledge and people to support you available on the forum. So all of us will benefit from doing it that way when you follow that path.
Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna show the audience some main features here in the openHABian configuration tool. Talking about the openHABian configuration tool, can you explain or show us some of the main features or some of the most important features?
Yeah, sure. Let's combine that with some general information. So upfront, openHABian is not really a fixed piece of software with a version number that you can install once. It's more of a continuously changing piece of software. You will have noticed that on every startup of the openHABian config tool, it'll check and eventually offer to update itself from the internet. So you always get the latest openHABian code, and you should always confirm that unless you know of anything that's wrong with the latest version. So always update, please. Minor versions, which you have on the download page, the current 1.6, I think it is. Those are essentially snapshots from a certain date in time. A major version, when this is created, when a new Debian version, a new version of the underlying, a new distribution or version of the underlying Debian becomes available. And when we have tested openHABian to work with that and tested against the release. So speaking of which, Debian version 11, I think it is, Bullseye, it was released in August. And meanwhile, it has been adapted for Raspberries, or Raspberry Pi OS. Bullseye is available now since a couple of weeks, I think.
2 weeks, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty new, and we are now following up, and we're going to release openHABian 1.7 to be based on that. We've scheduled that to become available December 1st. All goes well, if we don't find any issues. So openHABian has 3 so-called branches. Forget about this branch. It's about how the development is done on GitHub. But you select one of them. You have to select one of them using the menu option number 1. And the development version of openHABian, the latest and greatest, this is called main. That's the main branch. This is where any new feature and any bug fixes will go immediately. So be prepared. This is where you can get victim to my latest experiments, unless Ethan is faster to repair them. The default, though, that is probably what most users stick with, and you should stick with that. It's called openHAB 3. And this is where updates are forwarded in certain intervals once they have proven to work from the main, so it's forward from the main branch over to the openHAB 3 branch when enough time has passed and enough people have used the main features. So you can switch branches if you have let's say a short-term need for a fix that is already available in main, but has not been forwarded to openHAB 3. There's also nothing wrong with switching to main right away. Just the stable branch, the third one. This is a special one. This is what you need if you want to run openHAB 2 version. Yeah, you need to have a openHAbian to match that. Don't confuse this with anything stable in terms of this is the most reliable thing to do. This is openHAB 2 only. It doesn't work with openHAB 3. So go for main or openHAB 3 branch. So while at it, let me point out the ability of openHAbian to install openHAB 2 right away, because that's while you should be on 3, hopefully. It's quite a common request on the forum. People have their system crash and need to restore it, and fastest and usually easiest way to restore is actually to install a new system from scratch and to import your old config. You can do this. It's about setting a parameter in openhabian.conf, so look that up in the official docs place. That's referenced there. You can do that. So menu number 2. This will upgrade all packages, all operating system packages on a system. And to not misunderstand that, for those familiar with Linux, it does an apt-get upgrade essentially of all the packages that are installed at that point in time on the system, and that is including the openHAB packages themselves. So if you have, for example, the milestone number 5 installed, but the current one is number 6, and you do the menu O2, it will also bump your milestone of openHAB from 5 to 6. Your Linux distribution, so the Bullseye or Buster, which has been the latest, the last one, note that will not change. So any system installed before openHAbian 1.7 based on Bullseye gets released, it will stick with the Debian Buster basis. So you can manually migrate to Bullseye, but there will not be any option in openHAbian to do it for you. That's too much potential for things to go wrong, right? So we don't want to automate that. You can do it if you know how to. It should work, but we won't automate that. Then again, there's absolutely no need to upgrade any existing system, because both the current Buster and the new Debian Bullseye, they will be on par in terms of functions and support. Menu option number 3, I should have a word on. It's called install. It's essentially you will only need this if you don't have openHAB 3 already, and if you install from the image, you get that right away. But if you still have an oldish openHAB 2 based openHAbian running, then you will want to use this. Otherwise, you shouldn't need to touch that. Same is for the option 42. Yeah, it's not the answer to everything, but you usually don't need this unless you are on 2. Okay. So speaking of which, in menu 40, you can select the openHAB software version to install. That you might be aware, maybe not, that there's different release trains or flavors. The one that you will normally be using, it's a release, which is 3.0, 3.1, 3.2. This is updated in a regular cycle every 6 months. So you can expect 3.2 to be released right before Christmas. And then there's the milestones. That's batches of up-to-date code, which is done on demand on about once a month, and a bit faster towards the end of a release. This is usually also nice to run, and this is what you will. It's nice and it's stable to run. That's what I wanted to say. It's not guaranteed to be. It's not as well tested, obviously, yeah. But if you want anything that is in the upcoming version and you want to use it today, you will want to use the milestone to have the, let's say, new binding that is coming in the next release, to have that available. Unless you're maybe a developer, then you might want to use a snapshot and help with finding bugs in that. But most people should be fine with running a milestone or the release if they are more conservative. Yeah. So go with stable, maybe.
Yeah, probably stable. I'm going with the milestone, so it always depends what you want. Talking about upgrades and updates and backups, I can see here the menu point 50 with the backup and restore. So many of the audience probably already installed some kind of a backup system on a normal Linux system or on the Raspberry Pi. But I think these tools here, or this menu point in the configuration tool, is pretty awesome. So maybe you want to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, in short, it's all there. As I introduced, openHABian is built to provide you with all the software tooling that you will need for a stable and an ongoing operation of your system. That is including a backup. So maybe it's more than that. Let's go to what's available there, through what's available there. So menu 50 and 51 to restore. You can also use 04 in the main menu to import. They are just front end to the openHAB tool, openHAB CLI, that you might know or not, which is what you have to use to import or export usually to your openHAB config, but only that. No, it doesn't change anything about the openHAB software, and it doesn't change anything about the operating system. That's just to import and export your config. And the nice one, it's let's move to 52. That's the Amanda. That's a tool name. It's a professional backup system software that has its origin in the data center world. It's providing classic backup services like say Time Machine does on a Mac or Acronis does on Windows. So you can have backups of various points in time, and once set up right, Amanda will automatically run once a night, so you don't have to keep remembering to take backups, and because that's what most people forget after time, after some days, sometimes, or weeks. But in the professional sphere that I've been have been working in, there's also a saying: "No backup, no pity." And that applies to your home and your server as well. So get your backup right before you need it, please. Yeah. Or you will likely forget about doing so. So best is to really do this even before you have your openHAB working. Set it up once, forget about it from there on, but have it set up. Or you will be sorry when you finally encounter a need to restore your system. And sooner or later, anyone will, really. I've done it myself many times. Okay, note. You will need to have some space available to back up to. So what you will need is to have either a USB medium stick or SSD or whatever plugged in, or you can have a network drive mount. But to mount this, there's no menu support, because so you will need some Unix knowledge there to get that right. But it's perfectly fine if you've got a NAS or something like that. You can back up there. Just remember, the network share needs to be available by the time the backup is running. So it should also be running 24 hours a day, your network server, your NAS now, probably.
Maybe I'm gonna do another video about them under backup system here on the openHAB channel.
Sure. Yeah, let's keep that in mind. Let me mention let's take it the other way around. Let's explain the number 53, setup SD mirroring. As I said already, you can have a mirror or let's say a regular sync. It's a better, technically more precise description. You can have openHABian automatically copy and sync your internal SD card that you boot from to some external one. So you put in, you need to get a USB reader and put another SD card in there, and it will copy the whole SD card over there. You can also do this one time, which is menu option 54, but 53 is to set up the system to do this automatically for you. So it's by the time you select that, it'll copy everything over, which is taking something like 20 minutes. And it'll also install a system job to do all the differential syncs every day that you run the system. So you don't have to do this again and again and again. Yeah, you can forget about that task. I know there's quite some people who even shut down openHAB, pull out the SD card, put it in their Windows machine to make a copy there. You don't need that. Use this 53. And thus, remember, it's not a replacement for the automatic backup. It's a bonus, safety bonus at best, but it's not a replacement. Please get your backup right.
So basically, we should install these two systems, as you mentioned, like a backup system and the SD mirroring, probably. Then you'll be on the safe side and got two systems running, and should be safe then.
Right. The SD copy, it's got a nice, let's say, effect if it's a ready-to-run SD card. So if your system breaks down, you can, if your SD card breaks, the internal one, you can actually just switch cards and boot from the mirror. So it's the time it takes to recover your system, which is the time that your smart home isn't working. It's pretty short. It's some minutes from when you notice the problem has happened to get a solution to that. There's a recommended setup that you should consider getting. It is to have two SD cards, as I said. The second one with a USB card reader. And if you choose the secondary card to be twice as large as the internal one, then you can use that extra space to, for example, store your Amanda backups too. So you won't need yet another USB medium or NAS for that purpose. Yeah, that's about it for this backup stuff. It's a bit complicated under the hood. Take your time to read the official docs. There's more information on how that is working.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of great features in there, and maybe everybody should check this out and get to know the openHABian configuration tool. As I said, I'm gonna do another video about the backup systems here and show you how you can set up a normal system with the SD cards, and maybe I'm gonna do a Amanda backup on a NAS server. Okay, Markus, I would say thanks a lot for your time and your effort you put in openHABian and to talk to me about it. And have a nice day and take care.
Thanks, and take care as well, and
See you soon.
have fun with your smart home.
Thanks. Bye bye. So as you can see, there are a lot of great features in openHABian which you shouldn't miss out. I highly recommend use openHABian as a running system, as I do on my Raspberry Pis. I hope you liked this video, this kind of video. I tried to get some insights and talk to some maintainers and programmers of the openHAB system. If you did like the video, please leave me a like, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you till the next one. Bye bye.